Truthfully Speaking Grace is a global podcast dedicated to connecting, celebrating, and inspiring listeners with empowering conversations. Join host Agatha Corbin as she gracefully builds with real people, sharing real stories, and unlocking real enlightening truth. Welcome. This is Truthfully Speaking Grace podcast with your amazing host, Agatha Corbin, giving you real conversation with powerful topics and connecting with real inspirational people from all over the world. So sit back, relax, and let's get this podcast started. Welcome to Truthfully Speaking Grace podcast, the 2020 season. We're here in FoLLY Beach, and I'm here with StacyWood. I'm now a resident of Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm here to talk to her about telling her truth about relocating here from the Ohio area. Stacy, tell the audience who you are.
Hello. My name is StacyWood. I am originally born and raised in Middletown, Ohio. I lived in Middletown for up until I was 43 years of age. Happy Middletonian. One day I felt compelled to go to YouTube, and once looking on YouTube, I seen a video about a little town called Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. And I watched this video, and it was something about this video that pulled me. It was the energy, watching the people's faces, the expressions that they had. It was something that I felt like I wanted for myself. At that moment, I decided, I want to live there. I'm going to live there. Went back to my nursing job where I was a nurse at the Dayton, Ohio VA, and I just started putting out internal resumes, different places, but focusing on South Carolina. I got various telephone interviews, and I got 4 different offers, and I picked Charleston, South Carolina. Picked Charleston, South Carolina because it was as close as I could get to Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, because I still wanted that whole South Carolina vibe.
Tell me, what are the first truth that you like to share about your journey here to South Carolina?
The first truth that I want to say is there are no things that are impossible. Anything that you feel like you can visualize, you can make it come true. I felt like I did a leap of faith. After I paid all my bills, rent in Ohio, daycare in South Carolina, gas from Ohio to here, I had $150 left. And I kept thinking in the back of my head, should I go ahead and make this journey with myself and a 3-year-old child, no family, or should I just go with it? I prayed on it, and I had a sense of peace inside me that this was what I was meant to do. And I did it. And it was something I can honestly tell you was the best decision that I ever made in my life, because I was going on pure faith. It wasn't a 3-year-old daughter. I came here. I had already rented a place. We had everything we needed. Everything was budgeted. And I honestly, with $150 in my pocket, felt rich.
Wow.
And struggle.
So you didn't feel the struggle. You went out on faith, got settled. What was the first thing that you did for yourself when you got to South Carolina? One of the first major things that you did for yourself to better yourself?
The first thing, I went from a job transfer, so I did come here with a job. I wasn't unemployed. I went from one job in Ohio and I transferred here. But when I moved here, they had what they call sober living homes, which is popular here in the South. I came here and actually was a manager of a sober living house in exchange for living there free. So when I got there, I was able to continue working my full-time job and save my money. The biggest expense for me was not having family. We take for granted having a grandmother, an uncle, cousin, brother. To be in a state where I have zero, no family. I basically had to network and build friendships and relationships in the community with the people that I worked with, and got daycare for my daughter. So about 3 months in, the first thing that I did do is I did get my own place outside of the sober living house. I actually continued working with them part-time, but I still had my own residence. That was the first thing, was securing a residence. And I honestly felt like it was the best decision that I made, because coming here sight unseen on faith, I didn't know the neighborhoods. If you look back and think about where you live at and how you know this neighborhood is a good neighborhood, this neighborhood is not a good neighborhood, to come here and not know none of that, not know where the grocery stores are at, not know, I basically was like an alien pulled from a planet and just kind of planted here. So when I got here and I actually picked my first apartment, and looking back on it now, it was a simple apartment, but I felt blessed. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. But I looked back on it, I'm thinking, here it is. I just basically came from a state that was my home state for 43 years to a state where I know no one, with a 3-year-old in a sippy cup. And here we are 3 months later in our own apartment with more than $150 in my pocket. So, it's a process. I feel like if anybody has that drive in their heart and you feel like, I want to do something, you can push and you can make it happen. The first step is just visualizing it and then just going for it. Because the biggest thing that you can the biggest mistake that you can make is to not leave.
Is going to impact her as a young lady.
I feel like because she's grown up with me and we didn't have the luxury of, her being able to go over to different family members' houses much. I was with her a lot more than most parents were, because I didn't have somebody to watch her on the weekend. So Lolo has been at my hip, like basically almost 24/7 outside of when I work. But she also, I feel like, can pull that energy to know that I can do anything I want. My daughter has disabilities and no one would know that she's actually a disabled child. And I feel like there's no can't. We don't believe in can'ts. So I feel like with her watching me come here and knowing it was just me and her, and we come from going from an apartment to now a house, that she can do anything she sets her mind to. Anything.
And what advice do you have to other single parents, particularly single moms, who are looking for a change, that need to change, whether it be change of scenery, change of job, change of relationships, because you sound like you did it all. Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for those single parents, no matter what age group that they're in? What's one of the things that you want to relay to them about walking and living out their truth?
I feel like no one knows you better than you. Many times you can go to a professional provider and have a little couch time, and they tell you what they think about you, but at the end of the day, you know you better than anybody else know you. And if you wake up and you have that feeling like there is something missing, and 9 times out of 10 there is something missing. And this world is big. So even if it's nothing but getting a notebook, piece of paper, and writing down 10 things that it is that you want to check off, that you want to accomplish, whether it be, I want to go to the beach, I want to live near the beach, I want to live somewhere where there's no winter. Whatever it is that make you happy, that make you feel complete, then it's up to you to make that happen. No one else can make you happy if you can't make you happy first.
Thank you, StacyWood, for this time, for being a guest on Truthfully Speaking Grace Podcast 2020. What an amazing woman. What an amazing story. And I thank you for this time. And thank you for hosting me and my BFF for this fabulous trip for my 50th birthday.
Thank you.
Ventures away. Thanks for listening to Truthfully Speaking Grace Podcast. Stay tuned for another episode with more real conversations, celebrating real and inspiring people from all around the world.